Okay, I'm gonna start this meeting of call to order. I'm gonna call to order. This is Peter Hans, the acting VP internal, and we're going to start this governance meeting. I'd like to start off with a territorial land acknowledgement. So we respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Coquitlam, Catsi, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, and we are currently situated on unoccupied territories. I'd like to do a roll call of attendance. So the first would be Acting VP Internal Organizing Development. That would be me, Peter Hans. My pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met. The next would be the Vice Chair, the Psychology Student Union, Mark.
Yeah, my name is Mark, he, him. Access needs are met. Different time zone, so it's late for me. So yeah, I might not be up to speed, but yeah.
Well, thank you, Mark. We'll try to get this meeting done in respect to your time. Next is the ex officio, the Acting President, Abby.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abby, he, him pronouns, and all my access needs are met.
We also have the, sadly, I believe the SAS counselor, Hillary, could not make it today. And then neither could the society staff. So I think that's all done for roll call. Now we'll move on to the consent agenda. So for the consent agenda, we have two things, matters arising from the minutes from the governance committee meetings on both October 28th and November 18th. So for the consent agenda, be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. Right? Is that correct? Or? Okay. And then please raise your hand if you would like to vote against. Okay, there are no hands up, so this passes with a unanimous consent. And then I'm going to move to the adoption of the agenda. So for the would I have to read out the agenda, or do I just say just the adoption of the agenda? My apologies.
So you're just going to read aloud the motion and then ask for mover seconder.
Okay,
as it's
so
presented on the agenda.
So just to the adoption of the agenda for the governance December 16th, be it resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. Can I get a mover?
Acting President.
And can I get a seconder?
Psychology.
Thank you. Okay, and do we have any discussions on the agenda? Okay, I see no lists or anything, so we're going to carry it as it is. So this will bring me to item 11.1 under, well, this brings us to new business, and 11.1 is recommendation to council, referenda question number 1. This was submitted by me, the acting VP internal. Can I get a mover?
Acting President.
Can I also move these as well, or? Okay, and then I'll just second as well, just to make it a little bit faster. Okay, and then I'm going to quickly go over it. So this is similar to the thing that was passed on the November 18th governance meeting. Basically, it is just a corrections to a lot of grammar error, typographical errors that was done at the last meeting. Sadly, this did not get to it's not past the council. Oh, do you have that posted in for me, Abby? Or?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay, thank you so much. So mostly, most of it has not been changed since the last one. The only differences, however, was that I believe it was noted at the last meeting, and I just went through, is that some of the ones around in this in bylaws 7, some of them were misnumbered in the subsections, so I just had to renumber them. But to go through, be it resolved that governance committee approves and recommends the council the following motions to be added to the spring 2023 referenda. Whereas there have been numerous changes to bylaw passed at the October 26, 2020 and October 27, 21 AGMs, whereas minor typographical errors, grammar errors, and errors in bylaw receiving have been found after a thorough review of the bylaws. Be it resolved that the society approve the following changes to the SFSS bylaws. Amend bylaw 2.8 to read in a bylaw 2 subsection 8 to read an associate members in good standing if they've paid the society fees and any society fines and penalties. Amend bylaw 4 subsection 3 subsection D by replacing vice president's finances with vice president finance and services. Amend bylaw 4 subsection 4 by replacing bylaw subsection 4 bylaw 4 subsection 1 subsection A to F with bylaw 4 subsection 3 A to F. Amend bylaw 6 subsection 11A by replacing the council with council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 2 by replacing the council with council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 4 by replacing the council with council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 10H and 7 subsection 10O by striking all references of the phrase the council and replacing them with council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 10O by replacing executive committee with the executive committee. Capitalize the first letter of both bylaw 7 subsection 10C and 7 subsection 10B. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 11B by replacing general meetings with member meetings. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 11F by replacing the council with council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 11G by replacing constituency groups with constituency groups, capitalizing the G. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 11L to read as follows: perform any other duties as outlined in the bylaws, regulations, or as assigned by council or the executive committee. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 14D, 7 bylaw 7 subsection 14E, 7 14 subsection G, 7 subsection 14I, 7 subsection 14L, and 7 subsection 14R by replacing all the occurrences of the words the council of council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 14R by replacing executive committee with the executive committee. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 13A by replacing the council of council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 13J by replacing vice president academic and university affairs with vice president university and academic affairs. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 13K by replacing the council or executive committee with council or the executive committee. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 14I to read as follows: perform any other duties as outlined in the bylaws, regulations, or assigned by council or the executive committee. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 15E by replacing elected term with fiscal year. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 15I by replacing the council of council. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 15M by replacing the council or executive committee with council or the executive committee. Amend bylaw 7 subsection 16G by replacing the council or executive committee with council or the executive committee. Amend bylaw 8 subsection 3A2 by replacing the council with council. Amend bylaw 9 subsection 1 and 9 subsection 2 by replacing the council with council. Amend bylaw 13 subsection 8C by replacing elections with executive committee elections. Amend bylaw 15 subsection 4 to read: notice of impeachment proceedings for an executive officer shall be the same as required for a special resolution. Amend bylaw 15 subsection 5A by replacing the council with council. Amend bylaw 17 subsection 1D by replacing bylaws with bylaws, capitalizing the B. Amend bylaw 17 subsection 1D2 by replacing all occurrences of general meeting with members meeting. Amend bylaw 18 subsection 1 by replacing the council with council. So basically, a lot of those are just, if you would like to go over them, I went over them. I went over them pretty much throughout. I'm guessing everybody at the last meeting went over these changes as well. There hasn't been really much any changes other than restructuring the ones in 7 that were in the incorrect spot. I think a couple of them were, the subsections were a little bit off, and I just made sure to correct them. I made sure to just correct them just in case, to avoid any issue, or you might have to like go through it again, or if it comes to council and there's any issue. I just wanted to make sure that we have there's no worries there, just to make this a little bit easier for everybody here at governance as well. So yeah, I'll open it up now to discussion. If anyone has anything to say, please list in the chat. Okay, there seems to be no one who wants to have the discussion, so we're going to move it on to a vote. I'm going to seek unanimous consent. So if you would like to vote against, please use the raise hand function. Okay, nobody's raised their hand, so this passes with the unanimous consent. And I'm going to move on to the next new business item, 11.2, recommendation to council, reference to question number 2. This was also submitted by me, and it has to do with the SFSS bylaw clarification, safeguards, and democratization. I'll move. Can I get a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, Mark seconds. And I'd like to, actually, my apologies. I totally forgot it. I have to write down the, who seconds and everything for each one. I'm so sorry about that.
Point of order?
Yeah, sorry.
You don't have to do that. You're just going to send this recording over to the admin assistant.
Okay, now, is that, I don't have to worry about that? Okay, my apologies, sorry. Okay, that takes a weight off my shoulders. Okay, so I would like to, okay, so I'll quickly go over the document now. Okay, so this was as well, this was similar to the one that was passed at the last governance meeting. So there are important things relating to, especially like talking to BD, and some of them, most important things are about the, a lot of the things had to do with the electoral commission, stuff like that. It was important keeping in, and I believe there was important things. There was two wordings. One was original one that I saw had to do with a his or her clause, and we rewrote that one. It was I believe it was 22.1 or something. I replaced that with there, and I also added as well another one with the his her clause that I just replaced with there, just to kind of match it up, just so we don't use his or her. So that's some of the changes brought in here as well. But the rest of them, opposed to the one that was brought at the last governance meeting, what I did take out was there were some things that we can talk about maybe at the discussion point, but I'll quickly just read over it. So as be it resolved that Governance Committee approves and recommends to Council the following motions to be added to the spring 2023 referenda, SFSS bylaw clarification, safeguards, and democratization. Whereas there have been numerous changes to the bylaws passed at the October 26, 2020 and October 27, 2021 AGMs. Whereas there have been several areas found in the bylaws where more clarity is required to ensure that SFSS bylaws are able to be clearly understood. Be it resolved that the Society approved the following changes to the SFSS bylaws. Amend bylaw 4 subsection 9 to read each member in good standing of society shall be entitled to vote at the members' meetings. In order to exercise their vote, the members shall be present at the meeting at the time the vote is put, and no votes by proxy shall be allowed. Amend bylaw 2 subsection 6 by replacing the words majority vote of council with 4/5 majority vote of council. Amend bylaw 6 subsection 24 by adding in a new subsection 624 6 subsection 24H that reads alternates must be members in good standing of the society. Amend bylaw 13 subsection 3 to read members may not concurrently hold office as a voting member on the executive committee and as a member of student unions or constituency groups executive. Amend bylaw 13 subsection 7 to read the independent electoral commission shall consist of at least one chief commissioner who shall act as chair, no less than 4 other commissioners. Amend bylaw 13 subsection 7A to read no current member of or candidate for council, a student union executive, or constituency group executive may serve as a member of the Independent Electoral Commission. Amend bylaw 13 subsection 7C to read all members of the Independent Electoral Commission shall be elected by 2/3 majority vote of council by the end of the summer semester. Amend bylaw 13 subsection 7 by adding a new subsection 13 subsection 7E that reads the membership and composition of the IEC shall be subject to limitations via regulation. Amend bylaw 13 subsection 7 by adding a new subsection 13 subsection 7F that reads no member of the IEC may campaign for on behalf of candidates or if slates are permitted by regulation slates. Amend bylaw 15 subsection 1 to read if any member or council of the executive committee ceases to be a member in good standing of the society, their resignation shall be deemed to have been delivered to and accepted by council, and council shall declare the position vacant forthwith. Amend bylaw 22 subsection 1 to read in the event of a conflict between these bylaws and any other resolution of council or the executive committee or the provisions of any student union or constituency group constitution or bylaws, the terms of the bylaws shall prevail. Okay. And I'll just like to quickly list and just myself and just say, so basically for a lot of these changes, most of them are kept in. The only thing I added one was the first one, bylaw 4 subsection 9, just because there was another case with the his, her, and similarly to, I believe it was 22.1 or 15.1, there's, bylaw 15 subsection 1, it says their resignation, I believe was another case of his, her. I believe the entire thing for 15 subsection 1 was rewritten, and I kept that wording, the rewritten, how it was at the last governance meeting, November 18th. All I did was just change the there instead of the his, her, just to be more inclusive and just try to avoid, I think, his, her. Regardless, other than that, there was a bunch of things that I did have to remove, I believe. Other than that, just because I just did not, at the last minutes, and just I could not get a hold of the previous VP internal to clarify things, but there were things of an extra parliamentarian to chair meetings, and I believe there's things where a lot of these things where a lot of roles where especially executives were having some of their roles taken away, which I find kind of odd. And there were some decisions in there that could have been that I guess I just had no clarity or without, so I just kind of removed them. And if we ever do want to visit these again, I think we should do it in a separate motion. But regardless, I think this as it is, especially since we want to get these voting things passed through, I think all these voting things should all be kept together. And those kind of more, I'm guessing if they really want to do an overhaul of something, should be kept separate. But regardless of that, these are kind of mostly just focus on the voting things, and they're all together. And I think that's perfect how it should be. If anybody else has any other lists. Okay, and I'll just move it on to a vote. I'm just going to seek unanimous consent. If you would like to vote against, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Okay, as I see no hands raised, this passes unanimously, and I'm going to move on to the next business item, 11.3. Oops, sorry. Sorry. Meeting is recording. Okay. Okay, 11.3, recommendation to council, referendum question number 3. This was also submitted by me as well. Could I get a mover? Or I'll move. Could I get a seconder?
I can second.
Okay, thank you. Mark seconds. And then so this is the e-voting clause as well. We'd like to bring it back because I think e-voting is a very important thing that it would be nice to have that extra option, especially for council meetings, stuff like that. So be it resolved that Governance Committee approves and recommends to Council the following motions to be added to the spring 2023 referenda. Council e-voting, whereas the process of voting, especially if votes are needed to be conducted via roll call vote due to their contention, is inefficient compared to electronic voting. Be it resolved that Society approve the following changes to the SFSS bylaws. Amend bylaw 6, subsection 23 by adding a new subsection 23A that reads, notwithstanding, council and its committees may select to use electronic voting means as long as, and then amend bylaw 6 subsection 23A by adding a new subsection 6 subsection 23A1 or AI that reads, the platform used is approved by 2/3 majority vote of council. Amend bylaw 6 subsection 23A by adding a new subsection 623A2 that reads, council may revoke sorry, getting over a cough, may revoke its approval of an electronic voting method by a 2/3 majority vote of council. Then bylaw 6 subsection 23 by adding a new subsection 623B that reads, in the event that a result of a vote taken by electronic means is inconclusive, the presiding chair shall order a revote by either roll call vote or unanimous consent. This was the same one passed at the November 18th governance meeting. I had no changes to it at all. I believe it's perfect as it is. I believe the last governance group, everything did a good job with this, and I believe that hopefully we can just set this off to council and we can have a proper vote on this. Anybody would like to list or anything to say? Oh, Abby, you have a list? Sure.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree. I think this motion is good as is. And again, as someone who's painfully, I think I'm the person who's taken more roll call votes than anyone else's. Vice chair of council last year, and then current chair of council and assistant to chair of council often this year. They're quite painful, and e-voting would be good in the cases of where a council isn't necessarily 100% engaged. But in the case of emergencies, or in that case where there still is important business that needs to be conducted, e-voting can be a solution to those issues.
Thank you, Abby. Yeah, I think it's just a great solution, and hopefully we can get this past council. If there's anything else anybody would else like to list or say, or we can move on to a vote. Okay, I'm going to go seek a vote. I'm going to seek unanimous consent. If you'd like to vote against, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Okay, so I see there's no raised hands. I'm going to say that it passed with unanimous consent. I'm going to move on to our last item on new business. And this is the 11.4 recommendation to council, reference to question number 4. This was also submitted by me, and this is about the student care plan changes. I'll move. Can I get a seconder, please?
Acting President.
Okay. Abby, the president, seconds, and now we'll move on. It is so this was basically just kind of the student care changes that were brought at the last AGM. However, they did not have quorum for that, so I'd like to add this on to the spring 2023 referenda. Hopefully, we can pass it to the council. We can resolve that the governance committee approves and recommends to council the following motions to be added to the spring 2023 referenda: the student care plan changes, whereas the Simon Fraser Student Society provides services and resources to the SFSS membership. Whereas the SFSS Health and Dental Plan was launched in 2008 with no mechanism to increase the fee to keep pace with inflation except via referendum. Whereas the SFSS Health and Dental Plan is one of the most utilized services by the SFSS membership and has seen significant increase in claims year over year. Where students have expressed interest in additional mental health support, and the proposed fee adjustment allows for the SFSS to expand mental health service offerings. Whereas students will retain the option to choose a lower level of coverage at a lower cost basic plan, or opt out completely if they have equivalent alternative coverage. Whereas FSSS has acknowledged other avenues to manage plan costs without cutting benefits, knowing that you can opt out completely with alternative coverage or reduce your coverage for a lower cost. Do you consent to raise the SFSS health and dental plan fees by $31.92 for the policy year starting September 1st, 2023, and authorizes SFSS council to adjust the plan fee for up to 5% annually when needed starting September 2022 account? Okay, my apologies. This seems odd. There's no be it resolved.
Yeah.
Okay, that's odd. I might have submitted it incorrectly then. Here. Um, I think we can can we make a quick amendment to that
We
using that
can,
last paragraph?
yeah, just move to amended.
Yeah. Move to amend. Would it be okay? Would we just be it moved to amend by to raise it by $31.92 starting?
I sorry, I know I'm speaking out of order, but I
Oh, no
think we
worries.
we just yeah, we move and second this, and then we move to amend this thereafter, right? And then we vote on that amendment, and then we vote on the thing as a whole.
Okay, so sorry. So when we move, so we moved in.
So
Sorry, we already moved in second to do this. Now it's moved. Someone can list and move or ask for an amendment, right?
I don't, Mark, did we get a mover? I don't think we got a mover
No,
and
I
second
don't
for
think
this
we
motion.
didn't. Yeah, no.
Okay,
You
sorry.
still have to finish reading the motion as it is right now, and
Okay,
then we'll move and second it, and then we'll go to discussion, then you'll list, and then you'll make the amendment you want to make, get a mover and seconder, vote on that, then we'll vote on the amended motion.
okay. So I'll move, and can I get a seconder, please?
I can second it.
Okay, Mark seconds, and then we'll move on to discussion. We'll change. So would be it resolved to raise the SFSS health and dental plan fees by 31.92 for the policy year starting September 1st, 2023? Be it resolved to
Well,
authorize SFSS council to adjust the plan fee up to 5% annually starting December 22?
Yeah, so the first be it resolved clause is be it resolved. After that's be it further resolved.
Okay. But we can just kind of split that last paragraph into those kind of to be it resolved, right?
Mhm.
Okay. My apologies.
Sure.
I just have, oh, sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
I also forgot to I'm just gonna quickly paste the other motions title and thing in the chat as well. So give me 1 sec. This is the old motion. Just so the admin assistant has a bit of an easier time.
Mhm.
This is not the motion we're on. This is the last motion we just passed.
My apologies. I'm just going to quickly open up I just have the agenda on like a separate screen, so I'm just going to quickly try to edit this up right now.
That was that question. The new one now is titled this.
Would it say policy or should I say fiscal year?
Sorry?
It says policy year? Is it fiscal year or is that how we usually use it or just policy year? I'm guessing since it's
I would go
December.
with the language used here,
Okay.
just to play it safe.
Okay. So I'm going to move to strike that last knowing part and I'm going to add these two instead. So be it resolved to raise the S. Oh, what I need to list first, my apologies. I'll list and okay, so I'd like to do that. I'd like to amend the motion. I'd like to strike that last knowing clause and put it be it resolved to raise the SFSS health and dental plan fees by $31.92 for the policy year starting September. Oh, for the okay, I already my apologies. Let me quickly recopy that. Sorry, I apologize. I mispasted that in there. Sorry. The
Yeah,
second one is the correct one. Okay, be it resolved to raise the SFSS health and dental plan fees by $31.92 for the policy year starting September 1st, 2023. And also be it further resolved to authorize the SFSS Council to adjust the plan fee by up to 5% annually starting September 2024 to account for inflationary impacts on health and dental services. Those are my proposed amendments. Does anybody have any discussion or anything they'd like to say? I don't know if that works out.
Let's just pass these and then we can discuss it.
Okay, so just I move to amend this to the agenda.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Psychology seconds.
Okay, thank you. Psychology seconds. I'm going to seek unanimous consent to amend the agenda. Please use the raise hand function if you would like to vote against. Seeing no hands raised, I'm going to the vote passes and the amendment has been agended. The agenda has been amended. Okay. Okay, so the full thing is all the whereas and then these last two changes at the end. Anybody would like to the changes look good. Anybody like to add anything or Mark, you have a list?
Yeah, it's not necessarily like any changes or addings to it. So we have voted on the amendment and the amendment has now passed if I'm reading this correctly. But the motion in itself is sort of a bit confusing for me because I feel like I'm wondering why we're looking at this in governance committee because like our other like referenda questions have to do with our bylaws, right? And so on, but like this referenda question on student care plans, it doesn't really have so much to do with bylaws and therefore I'm like a bit confused to like sort of give some motion that's saying that council recommends that, but maybe there's something I'm overlooking. So yeah.
That's a fair point. I think Abby has a list.
I realized what happened here. So the be it resolved clause is the first one. It's be it resolved to approve that referenda. There is no all this stuff. I know it's kind of confusing because there is some whereas clauses in there, but they're not sending a motion to the membership. They're offering referenda. A referenda doesn't need a be it resolved clause.
Okay.
So that's why. So I think we should undo the amendment. So I'm going to move to revert the motion back to the original form. So there's no whereas clauses. The actual motion itself is just that be it resolved the government's committee approves and recommends to councils this referenda question, essentially, is all it says. And then the referenda question.
Okay, and then I'm guessing then we can just bring it to council then, or it's just more just like our group. Okay.
Yeah, I think to speak a bit to what Mark said, I agree. I'm not sure that this is the best avenue to be bringing this, but I think it's what we did last time, unless I'm mistaken. So this is probably something we should think about for next year is bringing it through just straight through council potentially. Or if there's a more appropriate committee like FASC or something else that this may be more of the portfolio under, that's something we can think about. But for now, I think this is the right way to go.
Okay, I just had a list. Yeah, my apologies. I was just getting into it. I was having, I think, a discussion for one of the staff about this, and I think we'll just to bring this up or whatever. I think because it was a leftover thing, but yeah, I totally I understand and hear what both of you are saying that this woman might not have been proper, or this might not have been the best thing to bring to governance or try to go over. But I'll also I'll move to revert the agenda to how it was. I believe if Abby still would like to do that. If anybody would like to is there a move or second for that, or do we just go straight to a discussion and vote for that?
Yeah, I'm moving to change the motion to back how it was, so I think we need a seconder for that.
Okay, I'll second that, and then we'll have some time for discussion. Mark?
Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering, because we're moving to okay, so be it resolved that governance committee approves and recommends to the council the following motions to be added. and then we only give whereas clause, right? But it's not really a motion unless there's a be it resolved clause. So it's sort of as
Mhm.
though there's an incomplete motion within a valid motion. So
Actually, oh, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm out of order. I'll retract my amendment. Actually, I think you guys were right with it. Never mind. So I'll retract my amendment.
So we'll just pass this as amended then, or something, or
Well, unless there's other lists or changes to it, yeah.
um. Okay, so we'll Abby withdraws the I'm guessing kind of the reverting of his. So I guess we'll continue on from before. Any other discussion items on the amended agenda? Okay, so I'm going to move it on to a vote. I'm going to seek unanimous consent. If you'd like to vote against, please use the raise hand function. Okay, seeing as no one's raising their hand, this votes the vote passes and is consent, and then that's it for new business. You did raise a good point about this thing. I'm going to really make sure to, before anything for 11, for the referendum question number 4, I will do my best to follow up on staff with the questions that you brought up, especially Mark, and I'll try to see what was going on around there. Okay, and then I think we're going to move on to adjournment now. So can I get I'll move, can I get a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Mark seconds. And be it resolved to join the meeting at 5:46 p.m. And I'm going to seek unanimous consent. If you like to vote against, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Seeing as no one's raising their hand, we'll join the meeting at 5:46. Thank you. Sorry about that. I know it's my first time chairing a meeting, but thank you for the patience.